of Gott, G-O-T-T, which was the Teutonic Earth Lord.
Which in Latin is Deus, and in Spanish is Deo, and it doesn't matter what you call them, just don't.
No, a little different with this because Gott was a proper name. It was a. There really wasn't a translation to it. It was the Teutonic God,
right.
And with as much Germanic influence as we're finding out, that we even have more. Every day, the more you study the doom porn,
the doom porn.
You find out just how Germanic we are.
Well, even when you get to the word Catholic, in German it would be Gottlich, which means godlike. So if you bend the translations enough, you might even get resurrection out of resuscitation.
Yeah, you might.
Yep,
you might. So that's what GOTT, like I said, was that name, and then it got. Because to make it not sound so harsh in English, they gave it a duh instead of a t. But but still, either name, inaccurate for the creator of the universe. Absolutely. If that's what you're trying to describe. And the scriptures also tell us that no one knows his name.
No one knows his name.
No one knows his name.
Or it's a his. It might be a her.
It could be.
It's both.
It's like an incredible thing.
It's beyond description and naming.
Saying, according to the Bible, he made man first and kind of messed up, and then made the woman, and the rest is history. So we'll just go with that.
Well, yeah, there are a bunch of versions of that, but
Exactly.
I know you're just ribbing us.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Just a little dirt there.
But to circle back around, why do you love the bad news, man? It's like. And I read a couple. And what it does, it instantly engages your fight or flight instinct. When you're like, you go, oh, bad news, I better make myself aware of this,
We like a little adrenaline bump every now and then, Some people get addicted to it.
Well, I can tell you, I watch enough doom porn. I love that. James Corbett, thank you for another phrase. It gave me doom porn. It's hard to say, doom porn. And it is kind of like that too, because I watch all the conspiracy theory stuff, and I do like my news with a hint of suspicion
and a realistic bent.
Well, knowing people as we know people, and history constantly repeating itself. There's nothing wrong with looking for the adversarial point of view.
Well, as a prosecutor, you learn to go with the facts and go by the facts, and if they don't add up, then you got no case. But the problem is out there, you take all the facts and you add them up, and you have a case.
There's an ad hominem attack on you. It says, "Oh no, you're just a conspiracy theorist. So what you're proving is wrong because I'm going to label you as something to demonize you and your argument because I'm protecting something."
Exactly. That ad hominem attack is I know I don't argue politics because I'm pretty apolitical. I will, First Amendment discussion, and the thing that I noticed is these fellas of a more liberal bent, they repeat what their peers say. Okay, that's the name of this show, is In My Humble Opinion, and they gather this opinion based on what they may believe are facts, but they're not facts. Mm-hmm. And then if you come up and say, "Hey, I think it's this way," and they won't go 2 rounds before the ad hominem attack comes in.
Right.
Oh, who are you, Lou Angelwolf? You're stand-up comic, remember?
And if you stand up to it, they actually go to the personal, physical attack next, which depletes society of all its civility, and it's a de-evolution of what we had from 10 years ago into hell.
And and the hilarious thing is too, then they'll whip out a Snopes file like it's this hidden stiletto.
It's like, and if it's a rubber knife, it's kind of funny. I show you my Snopes.
I got a Snopes for you, you conspiracy theorist. So I just like to call it less reported news. And anytime you want to find out what's wrong with the world, follow the greed. Just follow the money. Follow who got paid.
Monsanto.
Monsanto, yeah. I think the boycott idea is a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I don't know, it's going to be a lot of people watching this show and listening to this show. So just if a couple of you go, you know, Lou, you're right. You know, if this corporation knows that they're poisoning us, that they're injuring our children, that they're giving us diseases.
And they're putting at least one member on our Supreme Court.
And, of course, to protect everything.
Right. It had to be the black guy, though.
I know.
I mean, that's evil.
It is. It is. It's another manipulation there, too. But I think that's the way you hit them, like you were saying before, you hit them in the wallet, and then, and I don't know whether they'll actually disclose that they were wrong or whatever. I don't even know if they'll do that. But it's a good way to start. Mm-hmm. It's a great way to start. And you know what? Everybody, all the stuff that they make, somebody else makes it too, and in a much more earth conscious way. So that'd be my first thing with the Monsanto.
Yeah.
Monsanto and Bayer, they actually say it that way.
You know, it's funny, when I was visiting over in Russia and Ukraine years ago, they used to laugh because somehow I showed a friend a picture of my weed whacker, and they laughed. They say, "You, what's the matter with your society? You can't live with weeds?
Right?
It's something you can't bend over and pull your weeds out of your yard or garden. What's wrong with your society?" I was like, "Well, I think you're seeing it."
Well, that's very true. I can't find the live on.
I know, I'm trying to, looks like it's on the laptop, but I can't find it on the phone.
Is that just imho or is that Lou Angelwolf?
What is,
What do we got going there, Pete? But I'm not on. It's not on my phone. It's not on my phone.
Experiencing typical.
Okay. So are we on anything? The Lou Angelwolf homepage. Oh, okay. All right. Well, cool.
Cool.
All right. Well, yeah. Well, I need to go to my civilian page. We'll do
yeah, we're
that.
civilian, here we are.
Really?
Okay. So I'll share that to the other pages.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. Thank you. That's why we got Kathy here. She's our
Miracle maker.
it's our Vocal4Media representative. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's the middle of August here in the greater Clearwater area. We've been having, this is the dog days of summer, although today was a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
Today the humidity backed out a little bit, picked up a nice breeze.
That's right. You can see the leaves changing a little bit. They've gone from like green to light green in some places.
Yeah, somebody said they were calling for an early fall.
Early fall. Yeah.
Yeah, so that I'd run out to the street and hug that.
I don't care when fall comes, just as long as we don't get hit by any hurricanes this year.
Yeah, they talk about a low hurricane turnout.
Yeah, cool.
I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
Although my day job is selling hurricane windows and doors, nothing like some real life fear to prompt a sale.
You can never be too safe.
Well, yeah, everybody still thinks about it.
Yeah.
You just got to sell a little harder when, that we didn't just have one.
Well, it's like, hey, yeah, I get it. Yeah. Everybody else should too. It's good to have good windows and doors, and if you don't have something to protect them, go buy them. Worth its weight in gold.
It is. They really are. They're a good buy. Get hold of me.
Sorry.
I'll hook you up.
Sponsored by.
Well, anyway,
Not funny yet.
all right.
It's like,
But they say the bad news headlines tickles your little GABA receptor. You're like, oh, okay. And it makes you aware. And I got to tell you, like I watched David Icke. A lot of people say he's a nut. But you know what? It's like anything else. When you really study something, you pick and choose what you like about everybody. I mean, I've always done that. I mean, his reptilian thing on the royalty of the world, I don't know.
hey, when I see one, I'll know if it's the truth. Until then, you just have your own truth to go by.
Yeah, you put that over. But the guy is just an exhaustive researcher, and his some of the dots that he's connected totally make sense. They fit timelines. Believe it or not, they flow with reason.
Mhm.
So those who scoff him, you're really missing something. You're not spending the time. He lets go little nuggets of gold that I've heard nowhere else. There's another guy, James Corbett, puts out fantastic information.
He's like Mr. 9/11 for me.
Yeah, he's the guy. I mean, I'm not jealous of anything or anybody, but that guy's really got his act together
I mean, if you
on the
ever,
podcast.
yeah, if you've ever heard him before, he's got the historic voice behind there. If you believe that there's 19,
Yeah, it's 9/11 in 5 minutes.
Right, exactly. It's like, wow.
And he wrote it too. He's a great writer.
It's genius.
Yeah, it's James Corbett. If you want to learn something, because he's a trusted source. And I'm not saying I'm going to go stand next to him on the front line of the battlefield, but I'd stand near him.
Mhm.
So he's a smart guy. That's part of what we do every week is we do talk about CE5, which we'll get around to at the top of the next hour.
Sure.
Okay. But why does the news make us feel so bad? The phone lines are open. If you want to call in, 727-441-3000. Feel free. We'll take a call or two or whatever. And we're welcome to imho.love. And we'd love to hear from you. I had an unusual experience last night. This is in the humor section. I got asked to do a show by a guy named Jeff Klein. He puts this show together called Wigs and Wit. And it's a competition between 3 drag queens and 3 stand-up comedians. So the drag queens go out and they do their songs. Some lip sync, some actually sing. And then the comedians do 10-minute sets. And at the end, and we rate each other. The comics rate the drag queens and the drag queens rate the comics. And then there's a winner from there. But then to find out who's the overall winner of the evening, the drag queen or the comic, the comic does a lip sync and the drag queen does stand-up.
Oh, that's difficult.
Okay, yeah, it is. But anyway, I worked with some really, really funny spirits last night. The comics were great. Mike Morris, CJ Hernandez, and this was all at McCurdy's Comedy Theater down there in Sarasota. Very beautiful theater. If you want to experience stand-up comedy the way it was supposed to be experienced in a club, that is the most well-run club that I know of.
Yeah, and just the idea of what you've explained is brilliant anyhow. I mean, that's got to bring an interesting crowd, number one. Number two, a highly intelligent audience, and, you got to dig it.
Very, very funny. And the drag queens were wonderful. Alexis Detrevin, I can't remember her last name, Bianca Lamore, and Lady Charlotte. Lady Charlotte was a hoot, man. She was a tall, lanky, kind of a, Frankenfurter, Tim Curry, a little bit like that. And she came out and she did "They're Coming to Take Me Away." By, was it Alan Sherman or something? And really, really entertaining. But the girl that won, or the queen that won, was Bianca Lamore. And she could really sing. That queen could really, really sing. And I won the comic end of it. Okay. And then I was in the competition with Bianca Lamore at the end. And I'm telling you, I never thought that I would have like a spiritual connection with a drag queen. But I'm standing there on stage, and it was so funny. It was like so like 60s television. She's sitting there holding my arm. She goes, "Oh, I'm so nervous." and then I go up and I do my lip sync. I did "Stand by Your Man."
Oh my gosh.
And the queens get tipped in cash while they're doing their show. And some of the guys came up and they were giving me tips while I was doing my show. And then she went up and did stand up. And actually for, stand up is hard. And having it timed out and having it rehearsed. And she wasn't a stand up, she's a drag queen. But just busting out some subjects, and she did good. But and then the audience chose the winner by a round of applause, and I got a big round of applause. But at the end, I wanted her to win anyway, so I'm like, and the crowd went crazy, and so Bianca Lamour was the winner last night.
So you won. So you lost to lipstick in her pants, huh?
I lost to a couple of yards of duct tape, but anyway, but they were. And they were
Their makeup is incredible. That's all I'm
the
getting.
makeup is fantastic, but the underbody garments that they were wearing, I mean, and they were sweating, and it was hot, and it was all the stage lights were on.
Hey, doing this broad making my nuts sweat.
But Bianca Lamour, it was like I felt like her big brother by the end of the night. She's wearing these high heels that she was not used to walking in, because I think she's a roofer during the day. But no, I don't know what she does. But anyway, but I'm helping her on and off stage, and it was really funny. In fact, our friend Rose wrote down with me.
Well, I could imagine that would be the kind of intelligent show that she'd want to see.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun and a lot of laughs, and that's McCurdy's Comedy Theater down there in Sarasota. And thank you, Jeff Klein, who's the producer of it. And I'm going to see if Jeff Klein's listening to the show. If you keep this going, I know a magician to introduce you to with this concept. So keep it going.
But what's scary though is like that's a nice place, but you got some of these like comedy joints. Oh my God! Can you imagine like a B-level drag queens coming in to do this?
Oh yeah,
that could be pretty rough. Get their makeup at Walmart,
like the Moonlight
They still have their mustache.
Yeah, that too. Exactly. Yeah, not waxing.
So, well, yeah, the Moonlight drag bar would be fun.
Oh man, teeth optional.
That's a local reference, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the imho.love show. I'm Lou Angelwolf, Michael Murburg, Kathy McGuire. We are missing our friends Beth and Chris, and we hope to see you back soon. Pete, you're going to take us into the news? And we'll be back in, 6 minutes? 6 minutes, so stay tuned. I forgot to make the bumper cards.
Yeah, I'll make them. I'm sorry. I'm going to have my printer this week. You can go over it afterwards and tell me what I need.
WTAN, Clearwater,
6.1.
WDCF, Dade City, Tampa Bay. WZHR, Zephyr Hills.
FM 104.3.
Listen.
Clearance for vote. Fighting cartels. I'm a the CIA director of the Obama administration, John Brennan, had a security clearance for vote by President Trump.
What's that?
Reports the White House press secretary made the announcement. Sarah Sanders claiming Brennan leveraged by the Trump administration. Mr. Brennan has recently leveraged his status as a former high-ranking official.
And he sticks it.
What?
He sticks it. You get to my edge, your knees.
What's going on, man?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Trying to get this sound fixed because it's
Is Facebook Live still going, right?
yeah.
And it's on Lou Angelwolf's page?
Yeah.
Proximity to it. Jurors in the financial fraud trial of former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort are set to begin their deliberations tomorrow. Closing arguments wrapped up this afternoon, and then the judge in Alexandria, Virginia federal court gave the jury instructions. The Drug Enforcement Administration, along with Mexico and local officials, announced joint efforts to combat Mexican drug cartels. DEA Chicago Division Special Agent Brian McKnight explains what they'll zero in on.
Will be aggressively attacking the cartel's financial infrastructure by denying revenue going back down across the border. Hundreds of millions of dollars that goes across the border and drug money everywhere that elevates.
Roman Catholic priests in Pennsylvania molested more than 1,000 children since the 1940s. It says top church officials have. The Senate agreed today to debate and vote in the next $850 billion in spending on defense.
of items. No need to leave your home or hassle with crowds. Amazon.com. No better place to get everything back to school from A to Z.
I just can't stop scratching. Struggling to get relief from itching due to your atopic dermatitis, also known as eczema? If so, you may qualify for a clinical study testing an investigational related care at no charge. Call 1-844-777-4824, 1-844-777-ITCH, or visit advandastudy.com for more information on how to participate. Sponsored by Vanda Pharmaceuticals.
Looking to bring about the same level of safety at
Arg, matey. When it's time for lunch, when it's time for dinner, when the show's over, when the day's over, when it's time to chill, where do we go? Over to Naughty Nancy's Food Shack and Crow's Nest Pub. It's literally in our backyard, right in back of the WTAN studios at 700 Eldridge Street, just north of downtown Clearwater. Just look for the broadcast tower. Nancy's food and atmosphere get rave reviews. The laid-back patio is a great place to hang out, dine, and listen to live music at night. And Nancy's one of the friendliest proprietors in town. And now, Nancy is serving Sunday Jazz Brunch from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Brunch served with Eggs Benedict, crepes, waffles, lox and bagels, shrimp, oysters, and a build-your-own omelet. That's all at Naughty Nancy's Food Shack and Crow's Nest Pub, 700 Eldridge Street in Clearwater. That's right where Eldridge crosses the Pinellas Trail between Myrtle and Fort Harrison. Call 446-3717, 446-3717.
Come out to Naughty Nancy's in September when they reopen for football season.
Hi, this is John Austin, host of the Book Club on the Tan Talk Radio Network. I spent 35 years in publishing, and today I want to tell you about a book that could change your life. The book is No Cash, No Problem. The author is Dave Wagenford. Dave Wagenford is one of the greatest barter experts in the world. He's bartered over $500 million in goods and services. If you want to remodel your home, but the cost is just too high, or maybe there's an automobile that you have dreamed of owning, but thought you just couldn't afford. Well, this book will allow you to do both of those things, plus hundreds more with little or no cash. Maybe you're a business owner with a cash flow problem that leads to low or non-existing profits. Read this book and see how you can increase your cash flow and your profits by time-proven techniques. The book again is No Cash, No Problem, and you can buy it now online at www.tantalknetwork.com. Click on the book and follow the instructions, or pick up the phone and call Lola at 727-441-3311. The book costs only $6.99, so do yourself a favor and buy the book today.
There's a new show on Tan Talk 1340. It's imho.love. That's in my humble opinion.love, featuring me, comedian Lou Angelwolf, and comedian Chris Gorgeous, Beth Snyder, who is our staff hypnotherapist, and of course our teacher into the exo consciousness, Michael Murburg.
Yes, where we believe that the greatest wisdom is kindness and love unites us all.
Amen. And there's a bit of profundity every week at 7:30 on Tan Talk.
Make sure you tune in to the only FM sports talk show in the Tampa Bay area on Saturday afternoons from 3 to 6. That's right, 3 hours now of the evolution of sports talk radio, the Sports Web. We give you your own walk-up music. We let you call in twice, and we don't hang up on you like those other sports talk shows do. On Saturday afternoons in the Tampa Bay area, it's the Sports Web with your host, Peter Blake, along with Sean, the Sports Don. So every Saturday afternoon from 3 to 6, it's the Sports Web on the Tan Talk Sports Network.
Don't turn it off now. You need this stuff. Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio Network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Second half of In My Humble Opinion .love. Lou Angelwolf, Chris Murburg, Kathy McGuire here with you. The phone lines are open, 727-441-3000. If you want to call in, the topic of the day is, why do we love bad news so much, man? Oh, man, the bubble-headed bleach blonde comes on at 5. She'll tell you about the plane crash with a gleam in her eye. So we always wonder why we do feel that way. And also, too, on a happier note, I wanted to welcome back Pamela and her friend Deborah. They went down to Cuba. They took a cruise down to Cuba, and they said old Havana needs some work. But
the sandwiches were good.
Sandwiches were nice, and she brought me back a cigar. Ooh. And I don't smoke cigars, but I'll smoke this one, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no longer a felon.
Have a habit for a day. And yeah, they had fun. And I had a real busy week, man. Had a crazy thing happen to me. I bought that old Dodge Power Wagon. If you listen to me on the Grease Gurus on Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock, you'll find out I got a Dodge Power Wagon truck project that I'm doing. And I went up to my buddy Brett, owns the Ford dealership there in Perry, Florida, Timberland Ford. And I brought the old truck up there. And while we were at his house, my buddy Dave and I we brought the truck and the extra engine and everything up there in my black truck over the weekend. And and Dave needed to get out of town. He just needed a breather. He's had a lot of struggle last few months. Anyway, so while we're up there, we asked, Brett says, "Hey man, will you help me take this old TV out of my garage?" He had one of those ones that hang in the corner, you know, the big heavy ones, like on steel frame.
Yeah, like the one I still got.
Yeah, like that one. Well, that and but this is a big one, and I did not know that he had come out earlier and loosened everything up. Okay, so Dave and I are standing there. Okay, and there's a big Yamaha amp, and then above that is this great big 20-year-old 200-pound TV. Okay, I start taking this amp out, and I pull it out towards the front. It catches something, and here comes this TV. And I go, "Dave, look out!" And I moved him back a little bit like that, but that TV came down and caught him on his eyebrow, his cheek, gave him a fat lip, and it, you know,
commonly known as the business as Vic Morrow.
Yeah. He what a vague reference that was.
I got a million of them.
Poor guy, you know, he's been staying at the house because he's bummed out. Now he leaves the house and gets attacked by a falling television. And on the way up, we were having a conversation. I go, you know, you can take care of yourself. You can watch what you eat. You can work out. You can suntan, take vitamins, minerals, do salt baths, whatever it is you do. But there's a lot of random crap in the world, too.
It's all planned by somebody else, too.
Yeah. And so here's the poor guy. And it kind of just put a damper on everything because we were going to go back and work on the truck and pull some, you know, do some stuff, you know. But it was kind of like, oh, well, you know. And the poor guy, he's sitting there. He's got a lump on his head. He's got a fat lip. He's got a scuff. Hit the end of his nose. And, you know, so we're driving home and he's just like, I'm trying to make conversation and he's just being quiet. We rode for, I don't bet you 60 miles and didn't say anything to each other.
Wow.
And he wasn't mad at me.
Like
or
a
anything.
divorcing couple.
No, he wasn't mad at me or anything. It was just kind of like, I felt responsible for him being out of the house. And I was just trying to be a buddy.
Yeah.
Hey, come on, man, let's go see our old friend, you know? But anyway, so Dave, I don't know if you're listening or watching or whatever. I'm sorry again. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen.
I turned to you for help. This is what I get.
This is my reward. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, Patty Copeland, for watching, Paul Mahone. I saw Barb Duncan on there. Thank you, honey. Thanks for watching, everybody. It's always a lot of fun to do the show. And, you know, it's the trick question. This was a going back to the why we like doom porn so much. Scientists Trussler and Soroka did an experiment for the study of eye tracking. And they were asked to select some stories about politics to read from a news site so the camera could make some baseline eye tracking measures. And in the preparation phase, the main purpose was to see how concerned they would be through their eye reaction. And as a result of the experiment, the words, the biggest reaction was when words like cancer, bomb, war, and they actually responded more quickly to those words and a little less to baby, smile,
and fun.
Mhm.
So that just it almost tells you like we're wired that way, and I really think we are. But what happens, and what happens to me anyway, I can only share from my own experience. I get a little drunk with that stuff sometimes. I mean, there's like it rained a couple of Sundays ago, and I didn't have anything to do. I sat there and just filled my head with all kinds of alternative information. And I got to tell you, if we ever meet in person and you want to sit around the campfire, I can discuss with you how I think the world is going and what runs it and what keeps it moving. It's not good news, but I think I set that post in my life so I personally can enjoy every day of my life. And I do. I mean, I am constantly thankful, constantly blessed. I can't believe my good fortune, to be honest with you. And I have wonderful friends. I've got a wonderful existence. I've got a peaceful heart. And
so you screw it all up by watching the news.
Well, you know what? It lets me, what it does, it shines on it even more. And it tells me that even though I know all this darkness and edgy stuff and shadowy stuff, I still have this thing that I still can live above it. You know, I don't let it bum me out.
Right. Good way to be. You're going to die drinking water.
It's like it's got bones in it.
Forget the guy with the TV say you're about to drown.
But anyway, so when you have, we get barraged with information, bad news, bad problems. In fact, so in the wrong pipe, it's exactly right.
So I use a straw.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that.
He's got a straw.
Cheers, Mark.
Oh my God.
Oh,
No,
look at you
it's
guys.
Chris.
Murburg.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I was in Murburg.
It's all right,
Kathy.
That's right.
It's okay,
Wait a
Carol.
minute. And none of us have been smoking any dope. I'm telling you. This is like, this is all just senility you're listening to.
Hey, there's Darlene, the baby catcher. Hello, dear. Anyway, where was I going with that?
I don't know.
Just right before my choke.
Yeah. The water.
That you live your everyday existence gratefully and blessed.
Yeah.
Despite
the bad news.
The bad news.
Despite the bad news, I was coming to a point there.
You and Oblio. Another obtuse reference. For those who aren't fans of Harry Nilsson.
Anyway, knowing that there's all this adversity in the world, and I think what happens is when you let yourself understand or sift through the alternative news, because I can hear the clinkers. I know when it's clickbait. I really do have a pretty good sense of that. But if you are careful with your facts, you can draw an incredible timeline, and you can also, when you follow who got paid, is the main thing that I see. Like, for instance, why would a corporation knowingly produce a product that gives people cancer? Why would they possibly do that?
Because they can make more money selling it and paying the damages from lawsuits they fight throughout the time of the products on the market than they can by taking the product off the market. We learned that right off the bat from the Ford Pinto and unsafe at any speed.
Sure, and I think the other thing too is the repetition of their name being said, even though like what P.T. Barnum said, say anything you want about me, just spell my name right. Even though all this bad press is coming out about this, because their name is mentioned so often, I really do think that it has some kind of click generation or something like that.
It's cool. I stumbled once on the Monsanto fan page. There's a Monsanto fan page out there.
Oh no, really?
Oh yeah. It was crazy. I just wanted to kind of dip my toe in the water, and oh my God, there are people that actually are violently pro Monsanto out there.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, it's Soylent Green.
Yeah, it is.
I'm here to tell you now, Soylent Green.
It is.
But these corporations, their only motivation is a bottom line profit for their shareholders, and apparently, because of the mental agenda that the upper echelons possess, they do not care anything for us. They think of us as the lower gears in the gearbox. I mean, we're just not.
We're all expendable.
Yeah, absolutely expendable, and the profit would far outweigh any personal adoration that the dumb people would make, and they really do. They really do think of us that way, and it's sad. But then there's the tug of war of our corporations, our people corporations.
It's insanity to believe that they are.
Yeah, exactly.
It is.
And especially here in Florida, we are experiencing one of the worst cases of red tide ever. I've never seen down Fort Myers way, Charlotte County. It's absolutely horrible.
Yeah, I was down in Sarasota last week and week before last, and it was creeping up that way. And when you come to realize that, how do you grow a bacteria? You just feed it like sugar. Just like cancer.
Yes.
And that's what's going on with the red tide. So we have an entire coastline now that's polluted with red tide to one degree or another.
That's right. That's because of the lack of regulation from the sugarcane people down in way South Florida. And as the tide rolled up, apparently I'm real vague on this, so forgive me for not having my facts straight. Apparently, Rick Scott had a decision to enforce some sort of regulation on their disposal, but let it go by.
Because he's going to be running for Senate, and he needs the backing financially, so of course he's going to do that. And it's the same kind of guarantees and sleights of hand that he used to get to be governor. It's rather despicable.
It's killing Adam Putnam and running. It's killing him, his association with the sugar industry.
Right.
So, I mean, because he's been the agricultural commissioner. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And big money's been running this state for a long, long time. It runs every state.
Absolutely. And if you really look into the things that creep in on us, sugar is, man, it's like the sweet little devil, man. It's so big, and sugar is in absolutely everything. And it continues to decay away at us as we, our foods are filled with sugar. And
it's why George Washington lost his teeth.
Really?
Yeah, he developed a sugar addiction in which he would he would suck on pieces of sugar cane, and it rotted his teeth out after he started the addiction.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no. There's an aha right there.
There you go.
That's why, and then he got a set of wooden teeth made.
Yeah, eventually wooden, and I think there was a whalebone and that sort of thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Cool. Whalebone teeth.
And when they did his portraits, they had to fill his mouth with cotton so it would have a proper configuration, because his mouth was so sunken from not having proper teeth anymore that that they couldn't do a proper portrait of him.
Man.
Yeah, meth mouth without a meth. Who would have thought sugar would do that? But it does.
Wow. Yeah. Well, yeah. It's rough stuff.
Yeah.
It really is. And I mean, I'm carrying some extra tonnage, and I know sugar is the big culprit,
cause of diabetes.
And I look at that. I have pretty decent willpower, and I've been on some strict, eating regimens in the past. But man, and just. If you're tired, if you're fatigued, you don't feel like going to the store and getting fresh produce and doing whatever. You grab something. And if you grab something, especially if you're eating out of a bag, if you're eating out of a bag, you're just grabbing handfuls and handfuls of sugar.
Yeah. You want to put some food with that sugar?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, and the other ways that our body processes, like flour and all that other stuff, we're on sugar overload all the time.
Right. Well, grains became a real quick, cheap, and easy way to feed populations, and it still is. They
Yeah.
still are. And actually, I got in an argument with a farmer friend of mine about the products, glyphosate, And he's like, well, how are you going to eat food? How are you going to make food here in the United States? And I was like, look, if the entire country of Russia can produce non-GMO food and feed their own population and a good part of the rest of the world with it, why can't we?
Right.
Why do we have to be so lazy and profit oriented where we need so much of a profit that we need more than a reasonable profit?
Sure, man. And, aside from the Native Americans, one of the most brutal attacks I've ever seen in America is against our farmers. The way they got manipulated through the banks and the way they got manipulated through these big grain companies and these pesticide companies. I've studied some Middle Eastern stuff, and in the ancient Hebrew, the farmers, every 7 years, they let a field lay fallow.
Right.
And so it can regenerate itself with minerals. They don't plant anything there, and they move fields. They'll grow a certain crop in each field and rotate it. And then that seventh year, they let it lay fallow and just regenerate itself. We haven't been doing that for, I don't know.
Since the invention of ethanol.
Yeah, you're right. And that's it. Corn, that was the other thing, too, I wanted to get around to. We are so corn-oriented. The ethanol and the gas thing, that's hubbub. Yeah, you can burn it. Yeah, I mean, there's certainly better fuels, and it's interesting. Like if you can get an E85, or I forget what the new E15, I think they call it. It's a higher content of ethanol in your gas, and you're supposed, and it's cheaper because it's not all gasoline. It's got this corn filler in it, but consequently, your car, if it's E85 equipped, gets worse gas mileage when you're burning the corn fuel.
Mm-hmm.
If it at least got the same gas mileage, I could see the advantage of using it. And I suppose it does burn a little cleaner. So there's that conscientious part of it, which is, I applaud. Okay. But what I'm saying is, these car companies have the ability, with the fuel injection systems, with the fuel, the knowledge that they have of car fuels these days, they can have us all getting 50% more miles to the gallon than we do, and make everything run and burn cleaner. But I just don't. I don't know why they wouldn't. Maybe there's no profit in it. I don't know. What's the deal?
Well, they're still trying to produce gasoline-based engines and prevent the world from getting zero point energy production, and because there's no money in it. And if people end up getting that, they can actually democratize themselves.
That's true.
You free yourself from an energy bill of $600 or $800 a month per family. That throws a lot of money into the economy. But they're not controlling it that way.
Right.
So, it gets out of their hands, and the people that are controlling things don't want things to get out of hand.
It's true. And all the automation that we live with, and, I own 4 cars. I'm one guy. I got 4 cars. And so I do consume my amount of fuel and all that stuff.
But you can only drive one at a time.
Right. That's true. That's true. And it's funny. And like the new Teslas and I'm looking, they're all electric. They can go a couple 100 miles away from home without having to be recharged.
Yeah. On coal-based electrical fuels. So, thanks. Thanks for saving the gas, and shame on you for burning a ton of coal to put your Tesla on the road.
Yeah. And the other thing is too, the Tesla and the Prius and all those cars, Pamela's got a Prius, and I actually do like it. It's kind of a cool car. I mean, I got over my, bullheadedness of, it's a sissy car. When you're on a trip and you're getting 52 miles to the gallon,
it helps, yeah.
You like it a lot.
Yeah.
It helps you like it more. But the reality of it is, once they scrap that car, it actually has a larger geophysical footprint or energy footprint than a Chevy Suburban.
Right.
Because the battery that's in it and all the electrical and all that other stuff, it's hard to get rid of. And that's why they also send all that crap to China, because China is by far the largest polluter.
And I just had a friend come back from there. He says it's totally awful. You can't breathe the air there. No matter where you go, it's all crowded, and it just, the pollution is horrible. It's absolutely everywhere, to the point where he saw open cancers, and it's just horrible what they subject their people to. And when people from China actually get over here, they come into places like Sam's Club or something, and the freedom they experience here compared to the lack of freedom they have in China is like night and day.
Right.
So you can't really praise China for much anything. They are coming out of the dark ages, but man, they're killing their people with the crap they're making them breathe and drink.
Sure. My buddy Jeff Barrett spent some time over there building Shanghai Disney. And
yeah, I was just going to comment. I have a friend that was doing that too. Yeah.
And hey, there's Lady Charlotte. Lady Charlotte's watching watching this.
Hi, Lady Charlotte. You can teach me some makeup tricks.
I tell you, when she came out and did "They're Coming to Take Me Away," I literally, I mean, it was a real gut laugh for me. It was quite entertaining, and Lady Charlotte does a wonderful job with that song. Best cover I've ever heard of it.
Cool.
But anyway, that whole all this, if we just spent more time and effort on Tesla-based energy transfer, we'd be living in a completely different world now. But Rockefellers, Standard Oil, all these things, all these corporations, they kept us enslaved.
Brown Brothers, Harriman, the Dulles family, people that have airports named after them in this country.
But you're also talking back to the journalism thing. Think about their ties to the power of the press with their advertising dollars, and they could buy the press and influence the way people think and what they bought. And that's really getting back to our theme for today, because you started talking about cars and my mind kind of went right, because I'm a chick and I don't know anything about cars. But anyway, I love you, Lou.
Oil? Cars use oil?
What's ethanol for? But it's true. That's it's all that power and the money. Follow the money. Follow the money.
Sure.
It's all about following the money. You're exactly right.
I watched
Absolutely.
a documentary that
Citizen Kane. That's all I'm going to say.
In fact, James Corbett has a great one where Los Angeles had an incredible electric transportation system that got all taken out and phased out because General Motors built a bunch of buses.
Right.
So, well, Pete, where are we at on time?
We got 2 minutes to go.
2 minutes.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
beautiful.
We started 2 minutes late, so we're gonna give you 2 minutes.
Ah, you're the best.
Yeah, man.
And is the Facebook hookup okay now? Everybody's okay?
Yeah, it is. It's good sound, so it's not as good as I want, but it's good enough.
Yeah, well, good. We're getting it dialed in. This is only our third show. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to imho.love. It's a weekly show. We're here every Wednesday evening at 7:30 p.m. until 8:30. You can join us on Facebook Live, and we do the show for you here. If you want to hear me again, I'm on most Saturday mornings, if I'm not tied up, on the Grease Guru Show. It's a automotive talk show with a dash of humor and a lot of fun. Grease Gurus Saturday mornings here on Tan Talk. We love Tan Talk, and I'm real happy we moved the show over here. And you can also see the show on IRN Broadcast, or listen to the show on IRN Broadcast. That's irnbroadcast.com. Michael pre-records the show. He has a live show happening right now in this time slot, but he downloads imho.love so you can listen to it over there. And I tell you, folks, one of the big arguments about last week was, with the Alex Jones and the censoring and the removing him off of the platform. And consequently, it created an absolute landslide of people that wanted to see his.
And the creation of an alternative show base as well, which is gaining traction for people that like truth and real news.
Yes. And, and folks, I got to tell you, if you're just listening to the mainstream media, I can tell you, just as a friend,
you're not getting the whole story.
Yeah, keep on taking your bear and drinking your Monsanto.
Let's hope you don't do that. Well, Kathy McGuire, lovely to have you on. Thank you so
for
much.
having me. And don't forget to go to imho.love, our new website, and learn all about us. Learn lots more about us.
Yeah, there's a nice little cut sheet.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of stuff.
And my cousin Stephen Paul is going to do a nice intro for us here. I just have to write it. I've been busy, beyond busy. But life is good. And thank you so much for listening to In My Humble Opinion .love, imho.love. I'm Lou Angelwolf on behalf of Michael Murburg, Kathy McGuire, Chris Gorgeous, and Beth Snyder. We love you all. We really, really do. And if you've never read The Pacifist Riot, that's on Lutopia.com if you want to know where all this stuff is based. Thank you so much for listening. Pete, have a great week.
Thank you, sir.
And,
You too.
and we're going to rock on. Y'all be good.
Peace, y'all.